Ah, still can't raise an eyebrow. Hi guys, it's time for another video. I'm sorry if there's a bunch of background noise right now. Some of the classes are letting out. Um, but this week, my
I went on to UC. I want to see.
this week my blog post was about this unspoken rule that society seems to have, which at first I thought it was just me and my mother's slightly conservative background. Um, but that's not true. Um, as it turns out, there are four things that I said you couldn't talk about: politics, religion, um, sex, and drugs. And the reason why I think that is so wrong is because uh, no, people are complaining about kids and teenagers not learning about and being responsible with sex and drugs and politics and religion. And politics doesn't just go for teenagers. The adults in politics really don't know what they're doing. And the reason for that is because we're not communicating about anything. And that tends to run people into a ton of problems. I can tell you right now, I'm running into some problems because I have someone who's not communicating with me. Um, but yes, it is an issue. It has been an issue for a very long time, and it still hasn't been addressed. It's very, very frustrating. Um, so I talked about all of them in my blog post, but I'm just gonna talk about one. And it's very common. People talk about it a lot. I'm gonna talk about sex and how when you make something seem like it's illegal, when you make something seem like it's a bad thing to do, then people are going to be more curious about it and want to do it more often. Like if I was not told about sex, and then if I was and I was told it was bad, then of course I would do it. It's dangerous, and someone doesn't want me to do it, so why wouldn't I not? Um, and I think that's why people run into so many problems with early pregnancies, like 16-year-olds getting pregnant and not really knowing what to do with the baby, and they either end up aborting the pregnancy, which is not a bad thing. I mean, if you abort it, it's all your choice. But the thing is, it's a very, very difficult emotional thing to deal with, and if they if they want to get into it, they should at least know the risks that they're taking. But usually they don't, because no one's actually telling them what the hell's going on. And I think that people should tell them what the hell is going on, because otherwise no one's going to know how to act maturely when having sex or when dealing with the after effects of having sex, whether that's having your hormones go haywire after you take birth control, or dealing with a baby in the end. And especially a baby, if you're going to have a kid, you need to realize that you have to give your life away to this child. It is now your responsibility to feed it, help it clean, help it learn to talk, speak, walk. You have to do everything for a kid. And if we don't educate our kids on that, then they're gonna get into a whole bunch of trouble with sex. Um, not just having babies, but people might be taking advantage of them, and just having sex with them for the pleasure, and then leaving them to deal with whatever wreckage, male or female, um, that there is to be dealt with after sex. Um, yeah, I don't think we should make it seem like a bad thing. I think it's a wonderful thing, and we should teach them that. But we should also teach them that how to be safe, and we shouldn't make it seem like it's a bad thing. We should make it seem like, well, if you're gonna have it, then just let me know and I'll buy you condoms and birth control. But don't do it without knowing what you're doing first. And I'll also talk about drugs. Sorry if I'm being really repetitive. My videos haven't been fantastic lately. I've been a little stressed. But drugs is kind of the same thing. It's like I'm not gonna, when I have kids, if I have kids, I'm not gonna train them to be liars. I'm going to train them to be smart. And if they do get into drugs, if they do start drinking, if they do any of that, I want them to know exactly what they're getting into. And I want them to be honest with me when they get into it. I think I'd be more angry if they lied than if they tell the truth. And you know, I'm not going to stop them from doing it, because I know there's not really...
What are you using?
Alexander.
There's not really a way to make them stop. They have to figure it out on their own. But yes, don't train people to lie about things, or don't train people to think that what they're doing is inherently bad. Train people to be smart and to be honest with you, and, you know, don't give me some sugar-coated lie like, no, Mom, I haven't been smoking, and no, Mom, I haven't had sex. I just want people to be more honest with each other, parents and kids both. I want parents to teach their kids the truth about all this stuff, and that it's not always bad. But I also want them to tell them the bad side, and I want kids to understand that whatever they do, they need to tell the truth, because it is sometimes much more dangerous to lie, and you could be putting yourself or someone else in harm's way if you do. Someone could have actually, you could have a kid and you're not telling anybody, and you get really pregnant, or you just can't go through the pregnancy, or you don't know, like, sometimes the medicines they use, well, just in general, the medicine they use for abortion is very strong, and you don't know how you're going to react to it, and with birth control, you don't know how you're going to be allergic to it. So some people just need to start communicating a lot more, because communication, especially in our society, is super important. Humans and animals are inherently, well, we're animals. Animals are inherently very social creatures, and there might be some that are more social than others, but that doesn't matter. If you don't communicate, then nobody's going to know. In some way, nobody's going to know how to deal with these things. So I hope that in the future, people will be more open to every type of communication on every type of subject, so that we can learn to understand each other and trust each other a little more. That's my video for this week. It's a little long. Sorry, I think I kind of rambled. I'm going to try not to do that next week. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope if you are a parent or are planning to become one, that you will consider the stuff that I've written in my blog posts and some of the things that I've said in this video. And I will see you all next week. Bye.